Welcome to the Schools of Excellence podcast, where we transform everyday leadership struggles into powerful legacies that impact generations. I'm your host, Chani Wilshansky, a 20-year veteran of school leadership who has helped hundreds of school leaders achieve what many thought was impossible through our signature programs, School Leadership HQ and Enrollment Engine. With our battle-tested frameworks and blueprints, leaders have achieved 90% parent retention, 50% less staff turnover, 15% improved profit margins, and increased enrollment by 25%. My mission is simple: to revolutionize school leadership by elevating the skills, the habits, and mindset of passionate leaders ready to create lasting change. Join me as we build your legacy of excellence, one transformative conversation at a time. Hello there, and welcome back to the Schools of Excellence podcast. So today we are continuing with our 5 gears, and we are going into the financial health gear. So the financial health gear, I want to start with a powerful quote from Warren Buffett. Everyone knows who he is. Only when the tide goes out do you discover who has been swimming naked. In a world of leadership in schools, your financial health gear reveals exactly where you actually stand in leadership and in the way that you're running your financials. The statistics are actually quite sobering. According to the National Center for Education statistics, 27% of private schools close within their first 5 years. And here's the kicker. It's not because of enrollment issues. It's not because of the enrollment gear. It's because of financial management challenges. Okay? So this happens a lot, right? I worked with a director, we'll call her Patricia, from Chicago, and her school was at 90% capacity. She was fully enrolled, but she was barely making it financially. She's like, can't have it. It's not in the budget. Doesn't work. Can't do it. Blah, blah, blah. All these things. I've heard it all. So when I talk about financial health, I'm not just talking about breaking even. I'm talking about strategic financial leadership that actually transforms your school. Now, there are 3 financial perspectives that the vast majority of school leaders miss, because when they think of financial health, and I hear this all the time, of like, I need to work on financials. I need to work. What does that mean? What the hell does it mean when you say, I need to work on financials? Okay. Because financials is a giant conversation, and there are so many angles to look at. So let's kind of unpack a little bit here what financials are. The first thing is there are money leaks inside of your center right now. And leaks are not just expenses, okay? Every dollar lost is more than just money. It's missed opportunities to invest in your team, to upgrade your facility, to create transformative experiences for children. So very interesting, a different company, Toyota, manufacturing car company, right? They have a principle called lean management. And what it shows is that when they reduce waste by 5%, literally just by 5% inside of their entire just production, they increase profitability by 15%. Okay? By 15%. So money leaks is just one component of financial health. Now, I have an entire podcast episode. I did a whole power hour on money leaks. You could click the link in the show notes for that entire conversation. But to highlight here, there are 6 core money leaks in schools that silently drain schools' profit: space optimization, payment systems, schedule efficiency, food control, supply management, and admin and tech. These 6 things, these 6 money leaks, consistently drain profit inside of your organization. So that is just one component of what it means to work on your financials. So if you're hearing these leaks and you're like, oh, I should probably go check out one of those leaks, great. We actually have a diagnostic. It's called the 6 money leaks. schoolsofexcellence.com/money links. Link is in the show notes. It's a free diagnostic. You can download it and you can actually assess which of these 6 leaks is the most pressing that you need to actually work on and close. And you're going to be surprised because it's actually not necessarily something that you need to work on. Someone on your admin team or support level team could probably take care of it. So that's one component of financials, are the money leaks. Now, I want to talk specifically and share a story with you about one owner that we worked with specifically on the space optimization. That's the first leak inside of our 6 money leaks, a diagnostic. So the owner that I'm talking about, we'll call her Jen. And Jen ran a private school in a suburban area. And when you looked at it from the outside, she had full classrooms. She had very happy parents. She had engaged teachers. But there was a giant financial storm that was like not just brewing, but was like about to explode. So in my consultation and the profit and growth call that I did with Jen, she said, we're at 90% enrollment. And she was so proud. But when I started to dive into her financials, a very different story emerged. 3 of her 7 classrooms were actually operating at partial capacity. Her infant room was underutilized despite a growing wait list for toddlers. And her toddler room was overcrowded while her pre-K space remained completely inefficiently organized. And so when we ran those numbers, the underutilized spaces were costing her $14,000 a month in lost revenue potential. So we rejigged the space, we reconfigured the room allocations, we created flexible space strategy, and within 100 days, she was able to increase her enrollment by 15%. She reduced overhead costs. She actually created a wait list, and she generated an additional $22,000 in monthly revenue just from space optimization. Space is not just about physical location. It's strategic asset weighting to be optimized. This is such an important part of understanding this whole concept of money leaks. And this is why I talk about it all the time. This is unique intellectual property. It's trademark. This is what we created inside of Schools of Excellence. This is a huge part of what we do inside of our organization is create diagnostics and frameworks that help you guys actually understand how to work all of these gears inside of your center. So as we unpack this financial gear, money leaks is just one component of financials. Let's dive into the next one. Another component of financials is investments. Now, a lot of people think of investment as like, oh, it's like almost like a dirty word sometimes, right? They see it as like this risk or whatever it is, right? Whether they're investing in technology or staff development or marketing, many people look at investing as like, this is a giant risk and I can't do risks. So I want to talk about the most common investment gaps that we see inside for school leaders. So the first investment gap is professional growth investments. This is like the true cost of stagnation, right? Like not understanding that not investing in yourself actually costs. Taking $2,000 and investing in that's not an expense. It's unlocking thousands and thousands of dollars in monthly potential, and it's unlocking quality of life and leadership and all types of other tentacles that grow out of that without you even recognizing it. This is one of the things that I love when we do conversations with members in our School Leadership HQ program, and we do different case study conversations with them, is that one of the questions I ask is like, what most surprised you from being part of the program? Their marriages get better. Their parenting gets better. Their own personal financials get better. Their quality of lives get better. Their spiritual relationships get better. Their entire quality of life completely up levels because of all these different other things that impact all other parts of their life. And so there are certain things that are expenses. And then there are certain things that are investments. And we need to understand and discern the difference if you're truly going to work on financial health. So that's one investment gap. Another investment gap is network access. Network access, we all know this, your network is your net worth. It is not a cost to invest in a network. It is your shortcut to wisdom, to intelligence. Not investing in a network and thinking that just your local school board or your local directors group is enough is such a giant mistake. You need to have diversity of voices. You need to have diversity of perspective. You need to have people who challenge the way that you think about something. You need to have people who are like, that's really stupid. Don't do that. Like, this is a very silly mistake. Here is how to do it instead. You need people who could be blunt with you and say, that's silly. Don't do that. That's actually going to cost you thousands of dollars. Or, no, here's a different perspective to look at it. Here's how to think like a billionaire. Here's how to think like a billionaire. Like, we get so stuck in how we think through things. And we need networks of people where it's safe for someone to say, that's stupid. Don't do that. Do this instead. Here's a different way to look at it, right? Like, we're so afraid of these niceties of like, oh my gosh, like, whoa, like, I don't want someone to tell me that that's stupid. I do want people to tell me if I'm doing stupid stuff. Yes, Be surrounded by people that actually care about you enough to say, honey, that is silly and actually quite idiotic. Please don't do that. Here is something actually that is way better use of your time, your money, your energy, your people, your resources. Those are the people that you want in your circle. If you want yes people, why are you listening to this podcast? I'm not a yes person. You're here because you want to challenge yourself. You want to challenge your perspective. You want to challenge your thinking. You want to challenge your biases. Okay, let's do it. When you're in the right rooms, it is a shortcut to wisdom and intelligence. Making investments in your network is not a cost. It is not an expense. What's the third investment gap? Health and wellness. Oh my gosh. There is a cost of neglect when you don't take care of your health, of your wellness, of your mental well-being, of taking time in nature, of actually doing things that truly take care of yourself. Because your most important asset isn't your building, and it's not your staff, and it's not the kids, and it's not the parents. The most important asset in your school is you. And when you are not making health and wellness investments, it costs. It costs. There is a cost for that. One of the things I talk about with health and wellness investments, right? Part of a health and wellness investment is understanding your time capacity within your health and wellness, right? I was talking with a leader who was like, I just can never get ahead. Like, I keep trying to catch up. And I'm like, this is not about trying to catch up. This is not about you need better systems. This is not about you need more time in the day. You are doing too much. You need to stop doing so much. There is no amount of bath bombs, salts, manicures, pedicures, massages, facials that are going to stop the bullet train to madness that you're on. You are on the crazy train. You need to do less. You cannot do less for a short period of time while you're sick and burning with fever and have the flu for the third time this season because, well, I just can't because I'm exhausted. No. Your body is literally screaming at you to sit down and stop working so much. That's an investment gap. And we cannot know our investment gaps unless you're in the right network, until people can reflect that back to you. So that's the third investment gap. The fourth investment gap is risk management investments. Many of you understand this when it comes to like paying for better insurance, right? Or better liability protection, because you're not buying a $200 a month more insurance. You're buying peace of mind. You're buying organizational stability. That's what you're actually buying, right? That's what you're actually buying. So it's not about, oh my goodness, I don't want to spend more money on this insurance policy. It's, oh my goodness, I'm buying peace of mind and organizational stability and relief. So I was working with an owner. She ran 11 locations for about 5 or 6 years or so. We'll call her Sarah. And when I first met her, she's like, I can't afford another expense. And really, her eyes were so exhausted and so like, it was a kind of fatigue that like a year of sleep doesn't fix. Like this is like exhaustion on a crazy level. And she had a lot of resistance to investing in School Leadership HQ. She's like, oh, it's a luxury. I can't do that. I have 11 locations. I have all these things I have to work on. And I said, listen, the most expensive decision is not investing in yourself. And you need to decide, like, is continuing down this path, right? Where you have the bags under your eyes are actually like framing your face. Like that's part of like who you are now. You get sick every 10 to 15 days. That's also part of your protocol. You haven't been on a date with your husband in I don't even know how long. You don't remember the last time you had a face-to-face more than 4-minute conversation with your children, but you think this is normal and you think it's a luxury to invest in yourself. So she's like, okay, I'm going to take the plunge. Over the next 12 months, as I was working with her, we developed a clear leadership strategy. We implemented specific operational processes that were not about Band-Aids. They were about really removing the bags under her eyes and what was causing that level of fatigue. We refined her entire enrollment and marketing strategy. We really developed what an enrollment strategy is, not just here's all the activity you're going to do, which is important, but what does it mean to lead and market and brand a operation that has 11 locations? And so over the course of those 12 months, and then we continued to work afterwards, she was able to really create an internal leadership pipeline that wasn't just about, oh, now I have a bench, now I have a pipeline. It was, now I have specific skills that I'm training every single one of these leaders to do so that I am really removing myself from this area, because now this leader not just has the system, she has the accountability, she has the boundaries, she has the discernment, she has the emotional regulation, she has the agency to actually execute on this role. Not just, oh, this is as far as she could go and then she hits her growth edge. No, she knows how to consistently push herself, or he knows how to consistently push himself. That's what it means to really develop an internal leadership pipeline. And then she was also able to continue to expand to 5 more locations over the course of 18 months. And so it started as this initial investment, became a $250,000 transformation for her organization, completely reshaping the legacy that she was leaving and the generational wealth that she was creating for her family, for her children, for her grandchildren. And you might be listening to this and thinking like, well, I don't have 11 centers. Well, that's not me. Here's the thing about being a real leader, right? You listen and you take what makes sense for you from these stories. You take what actually applies to you and then just leave the rest. Not every single word that I say in a podcast is supposed to apply to you. I'm not creating a customized coaching call. This is a podcast where thousands of people listen, and I share stories that hopefully really bring in the span of people from small mom and pops all the way to these giant franchises. But the thing that you want to understand is that the giant franchise and the small mom and pop, it's similar first principles in understanding how to build true profitability and generational wealth inside of your organization. So that's the second component of financial health, is understanding investment gaps. The third one is profit is not about greed. Profit is about sustainability. It's about having resources to pay your staff well. It's about creating phenomenal working environments. It's about serving more families with excellence, right? Profit is mission fuel. It is not greed. And so what happens a lot is many leaders look at profit as greed, as opposed to sustainability is actually your first responsibility. Profit allows you to pay teachers what they're worth. Profit allows you to invest in the best learning experiences. Profit allows you to create opportunities and experiences that are way beyond just getting by. They're about creating something that doesn't exist. And as an entrepreneur, that's something that's important to you. Profit is about understanding that the mission that you have requires resources, right? Your vision needs financial oxygen. Your vision needs financial oxygen. So every dollar of profit is a dollar of financial oxygen for your mission. Profit takes your dreams of one day I'm going to do this to, we're going to do this in the next 30 days. Profitable schools are able to attract and retain top talent. Profitable schools are able to serve more families. Profitable schools are able to expand educational possibilities. Profit is never about taking. Profit is about understanding how to give more and having more to give. Profit is not about taking. It's about having more to give. So that is a huge thing to understand in the third concept of financials. So I want to share a story about David. We'll call him David. He's a school owner that I worked with. He owns 6 locations, and just his profit mindset revolution. So David and I worked together for a short period of time, and he really spoke about, we're really here for the kids. We're not about making money, kind of these like very idealistic concepts that I'm like, oh, that's, really nice that you have that, philosophy, but your school's breaking even, your teachers are underpaid, and resources are constantly being stretched thin. And so David was like, what do you mean? I'm such an amazing director. I'm like, yeah, but you're sacrificing financial health for educational passion. And it doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to sacrifice one for the other. They actually work so beautifully in tandem with each other, but you have to understand how to actually do it. Right? Stop being a martyr. And so our conversations really challenged everything that he believed about money and mission. And I explained that, again, like I said before, profit is not about taking, it's about creating possibilities and about giving more. And so what happened is the first thing we worked on was strategic pricing of his private school. Like, what do you actually need to charge based on where you live, demographics, families, all of those things. We added an additional revenue stream. Once we did the 6 money leaks diagnostic, we were able to recognize that we can add actually 2 additional revenue streams that started to bring in other revenue. So he was able to increase his profit percentage. And we really created a comprehensive financial strategy, again, highly focused on the 6 money leaks, where he was able to actually start to have profit as mission fuel for his organization. He was able to start paying his staff more. He increased his teacher salaries by 25%. He actually launched the scholarship program, which was something that was really important to him. And I recognized that when we did part of like our values conversation, where he was like, well, it's really important to me to serve underprivileged families or, families that can't afford things or whatever. And I was like, great. So we can have one section and then you can have a scholarship program. You can have a nonprofit component to it. He expanded to another location. And the biggest thing that brought him so much joy, which was amazing to connect with him, was he created so much more opportunity for his staff that were working with him. It was mind-boggling. And he recognized that his profit wasn't about him taking personal wealth. It was about expanding his ability to serve. And again, there's nothing wrong with wanting to take personal wealth from the profit. For him, it was expanding his ability to serve. And so what's so important to understand about all the stories that I shared and about these 3 components is they really share a common thread. Financial health is not just about numbers. It's about possibilities. It's about creating more. It's about serving more. And it's about making bigger impact. Your financial gear is not a limitation. It's your mission's most powerful accelerator to move forward. And it's so important to understand these 6 money leaks. It's so important to understand, what does it mean in the 4 levels of work to work on this financial gear? How do we actually improve the financial health and sustainability of our company? So here's what I want to invite you to do. Go to schoolsofexcellence.com to download the 5 Gears diagnostic. You can also go to schoolsofexcellence.com/moneyleaks to download our free money leaks diagnostic to see which area of the 6 money leaks are you struggling with right now. Which one is your center kind of strapped for cash right now, and how to create more opportunity. And then one of the things that we offer as well after you take the diagnostic is we have a profit and growth call where myself and my team will actually personally walk through the diagnostic with you and help you recognize, here's where to find money right now in the next 10 days, in the next 30 days. No money, no mission. Understand that financial health and really, really diving into all these components creates and unlocks so much opportunity for you. Thanks so much for joining. And next week, we're going to dive into the staff retention gear.